I was having a conversation with another person who's doing the online course, and she said that she sort of got a bit overwhelmed with the theory videos because she just finds them quite hard to watch and
Oh,
concentrate on. And I said to her, you do realize that there's an MP3 so you can listen to it.
mhm.
And that's another thing for you is that rather than go so in depth with the theory, maybe just go, when you're out on a walk or when you're out doing other things
Yeah,
and you don't, you can do that, you can plug into it, then listen to the theory modules on the MP3.
yeah,
And then the other thing is that you've got a written transcript with all the research links per theory module as
yeah,
well. So I know that English probably isn't your first language, but so seeing something written might not be so useful for you, but
yeah,
definitely hearing so listening to it, like listening to it when you're in the car, when you're traveling to clients, or when you've got a 10-minute
yeah.
tea break, or
Yeah, yeah. At the moment, my life is in a change. So yeah, but maybe it's the way. I don't really mind to sitting and watching it. Because I actually personally I found it easier, as you said, as English is not my first language. Just when I listen to something, I miss actually quite a lot. When I see, and I am also
okay.
as well visual. So like when the course is presented and when there information written on the slides, I remember them more than if I just hear it.
Okay.
So and also I write. I've got a notebook and I write like a point
Yeah,
that are
absolutely.
important. Like the one, of course, I don't have to remember statistics and this and that. That's not
No.
that hasn't got. It's an interesting and as a overview for a problem, but not for sharing it with the clients or something. But they are like aspects of the course that I like to just see, I like to note, and then I remember it, or I kind of, I know that I can find out it in here. So to me, it works better this way. However, yeah, and but maybe practical what I do just what I've learned with either previous my training and yourself. So and I just keep practicing as I've been taught, and I do it every day. But I know that to teaching that needs to be taken into steps. I remember that. So it's
Yeah.
not, I'm not teaching from what I'm doing. I'm teaching from step by step, starting from.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, but I mean, the course breaks that down in the practical stuff. So,
Okay.
I mean, I would very much, if I were you,
Sorry.
do a bit of theory, but actually, I would probably myself get the qualification
Mhm.
and then go back and nitpick at bits that you want to learn out of the other stuff.
Sorry, my husband rang me because he went actually to England today, and now can you hear me? Yeah, I can because I lost the. I can hear you, but I lost. I can't see.
So if you're on a laptop,
Yes.
so go down to the blue Zoom. If you've got the
Oh, to the blue. Oh, to the
that's it,
speaker.
click on
Yeah,
that.
little face. No, no, it's not this. Oh gosh, it happened. No, no, no. I don't know. Well, can I reconnect?
Yeah. Go if you go off and come back again,
Yeah,
I'll let
yeah.
you back in.
Oh, I'm here.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you and hear very well. Yeah.
Excellent. Hey Lara. Hey Sam.
Yeah. How do I get my video to work on here?
I can't see you on your phone, Lara, but I
Um,
can see you on whatever else it is that you're on.
oh God, Nikki, I've been running around and I had you on the phone and I thought it'd linked to the computer.
I can see you.
Oh, can
Oh,
you?
now you've gone. You've gone
Oh,
again now. Oh, there you go. You're back again.
oh, right, I'm going to hang up this one. Sorry, I'll mute myself.
That's it. Yeah, so just going back to the course, Aldona, I would just, if I were you,
Mm,
I would work through the practical.
okay.
Because just what I would do is just go through and have a look at the practical, make sure that that's what you've been practicing, but you've learnt it from me anyway as a client.
Yeah.
So you should be doing exactly what I would teach anyway.
Yeah.
And then have a look at the certification module. So what you have to do for your certification, film your practice because you'll be good at that. You don't have to do long breath holds. It's just one round of breath. So 3 breaths and a hold,
Yeah.
hand position in each posture. Get that
Yeah.
one sent in and critiqued. You'll get feedback if it's not quite there.
Yeah.
And then just, whoever you're going to use as your person to teach, start
Yeah.
start practicing teaching them,
Yeah.
but just kind of teach them the bits that you want to put in for the exam.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because after you've got your certification, you'll have access to the course anyway.
And I can,
And you
yeah,
can go back over and do all the theory stuff.
yeah.
I think sometimes I kind of wish that we'd structured it so that the first bit everyone sees and gets to is the practical.
Okay.
And then the theory is after. I was only having this conversation earlier with someone who's also doing the online course, and she said, "Oh, I'm working my way through, like it was a real chore to get
Mm,
through all of the theory videos. I mean, it's so in depth,
mm,
but actually the important bit is the doing and the
mm,
confidence in the teaching."
yeah.
So if I were you, I would get on with all the bits that you're really good at
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Definitely. I will definitely try to then this way and then somehow after, because now my husband is not here, so I would need him for recording anyway, but I would go through that first and then, yeah, somehow
Have you
after.
not got a tripod?
We moved, we are actually temporarily renting a house, and all of our stuff is left in the house because we moved to Spain nearly 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that's why even my business gone a little bit all over the place, because it's not so easy to be self-employed in Spain. That's why I also decided to do this course, because this course can be also worked online. This way, this practice, this therapy, let's say.
Yeah.
And yeah, and but everything, all of our things are in our house in the south of Spain, and we are in the north of Spain now, and we haven't moved everything yet, and we're doing it in stages. And my husband is away now, and he has got, he would be the one to organize the recording for me, because I have just phone and a computer at the moment. So yeah, so I would need him, but he's coming back on Friday anyway.
Okay.
So
Okay.
not like,
But I definitely, because I know how good you were at it when I taught you, I would
oh,
definitely be
okay.
getting on and doing your practical because that will give you a bit of confidence as well. You'll be a bit like, oh yeah, I can do this. And
Yeah.
then, and then whoever it is you're going to use for your teaching, that's probably the only bit that you need to practice is
Yeah.
teaching somebody else how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's
No
good that
problem at all.
I spoke and
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, I with these sessions, I never really have anything too much planned. It's a way for everyone to kind of get together, get support and help with anything that they need to, or just to really have a bit of a chat about any challenges or anything, or maybe any training that they want to see coming up. And it's in many of these sessions that we've formulated a little plan and realized that maybe there's gaps in people's knowledge with maybe things like scar release and fascial work. And, that people don't have that hands-on skill, especially if they come from like a fitness background they don't really have any kind of therapy skills. So it's been actually really good to have different people come and do these training sessions as well as, tapping into my brain and asking me about anything that I might be doing or anything that's coming up. So that's the thing with these sessions is they're very open. I have done practical sessions in the past, but I really kind of leave it up and open to what people want to do. I think that probably the next one I do will be more of a practical session. So that might be a really good one for you to come on, Aldona, to kind of home in on your teaching skills. And also maybe what we'll do is if we get plenty of people booked on, we can do a bit of role play where, you know, you're basically someone else is taking an online class and being instructed by you, because it's not particularly easy when you do online work. Sam, you do quite a lot of online stuff. Lara, do you do any online stuff?
I don't do anything online. I did an online awareness session for people to just sort of come into, but it was much more theory based rather than actually teaching technique.
Yeah.
I've wanted to, but to be honest, I find that a lot of the people that come to see me have so much physical stuff going on that I feel I'd miss it if I was
Yeah,
doing
absolutely.
online.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see as well. Like I've had two people today that had huge compensatory stuff going on, like with their quads firing off. And one lady said, I've been trying to stretch my quads for 2 years and they've never quietened down. Did some hypopressive work, just got her sort of not ramped up and everything melted. She said, oh my God, you know, that hadn't got, but being able to see that and observe it and
Yeah, I totally get that. I totally get
was
that.
really nice. But I am losing people that I have some people that come from further away and then I lose them to follow up because they'd like to do online stuff and I don't.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
what do you think is stopping you from doing anything online? Is it a time constraint or is it just you don't really know where to start?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
A confidence thing. And
confidence.
also
Okay.
because I'm using free Zooms, whatnot thing that cuts off after, is it 50 minutes or something? Can't remember.
Yeah, but you don't,
Um,
if I'm being honest, you don't need, I mean, I only do a 45-minute class now on Zoom.
oh, do you? Oh,
I
wow.
mean, I do, if I'm doing a one-to-one with somebody on hypopressives, I'll do an hour. So I've got the paid version. It's not expensive anyway.
About
Um,
£12 a month, isn't it? £14 a month.
yeah, it's about
It's
£14 a month. And
yeah,
you know,
it's
I've been doing that since lockdown
Mm.
because um you know, and actually since lockdown, they've made so many improvements to
Mhm.
Zoom. It's so good. Like, for example, now I've set up, I'm not sure this is available on the free one, but AI Companion will be taking notes of the meeting. And when I've finished, it will give me a summary of the meeting. And then what I can do is highlight bits of that and then put that in the trainers group tomorrow.
freaks me out.
Where, yeah, where basically it's told, and the thing that I find the best, and I know that a lot of people have got very mixed opinions about AI, but what I like about it is that I can't remember everything.
Mm.
I'm trying to do a million different things every day, and a lot of it's admin tasks that I don't really enjoy. So if it can make my life easier and it can make me remember, like that was a bit that was a really important bit within the meeting or within the session, then you know that's good for me. Um, so, you know, it's definitely something if you're going to go for an online platform, you're going to do some online stuff, it's worth the money because it's not much money at all, really, for what you
Mm.
get. And I record all of these sessions. And you can also, when you do the AI companion, it gives you a transcript as well. So, you know, if you, for example, wanted to put a written transcript for someone that didn't cope very well with visual stuff, then you've got it all there. You just copy and paste it and take all the ums and ahs out. Or you could copy and paste it, put it into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to make sense of it. And then, you know, you've got AI just sorting out what AI has heard. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love it because it just makes my life so much easier. And, you know, most of my clientele won't come to me. I won't be able to see them in person. Or even if I do, I maybe see them 1 or 2 sessions in person and then they go online. Right, come on out. Sorry, my dog's joined us and he's a pain in the bum. Go.
If you remember, well, you will remember, Nikki, that when COVID started, up till that time, we weren't allowed to do hyperpressives online. You know, it was very much, wasn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say we weren't allowed to.
Well, we didn't know how to really. There
Well,
wasn't really the
no, I would
yeah.
definitely say, Sam, we would struggle with how
Mm.
to teach it. Absolutely. I think I did one or two clients online and
Yeah.
absolutely hated it.
Mm.
But I think that what, what COVID forced us to do was to do something online, whatever it was,
Yeah.
whether it was temporary or whether it was something that we carried forward.
Yeah.
It forced us to do it online. And, I totally get that it's really difficult to see certain elements of somebody's positioning, and like you said, that you saw someone with lots of different discrepancies and things going on, and much prefer to have someone in the room teaching them. But for a lot of people the fact that we are very sparsely spread out across the UK and whatever other countries we're in, it's an important part of what we do. So it may be that what I do is I run a session on how to, I mean, I've kind of done one before where I've shown how I structure my own sessions. And that's on one of the recordings from previous sessions before. But as I say, it would be quite good for people to get ideas off of each other. So to have a session where there are people like myself and Sam and other people that are running sessions online that help out people like you, that where you're not feeling very confident with it. What do you think that your biggest struggle would be to get across? Is that your dog?
Yes.
Was want to join in?
It's when they hear somebody else's voice and they're like, oh God. It's the tech side, because I'm already doing some group sessions, and I've got I've built a structure of a sort of warm up and then doing the hyperpressives and having a little bit of a cool down and relaxation afterwards, which I really enjoy doing. But it is the tech and just the whole, like, is it going to work? Am I going to fluff it up? Am I going to set it up right? And all this malarkey over, it's the bloody tech, Nikki. It's the malarkey.
All I can say to you about that is it's not as difficult as you're making it out to be. It really isn't.
Okay.
Lara, I'm one of the most useless people in tech, honestly. And COVID kind of forced me to embrace it. And I could do it standing on my head now, really.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely remember feeling like you and
Yeah,
feeling like,
absolutely. Yeah.
how the hell am I ever going to do this online? This is ridiculous. And do I need a microphone? And have I got to have this? And have I got to have that? Well, what I ought to do really is just, this is the room that I do my classes in, or if I've got any one-to-ones on Zoom, this is the room I do it in, right? And it's just a bedroom that is been made into an office because we don't need to use it as a bedroom. So, like in my backdrop, it looks like I'm in like a proper little studio, but it's not, it's just a bedroom. So, and I've actually I've played around with microphones, but I actually just think that the mic that's on this laptop is really good. I think sometimes when I move, so I'll show you in a minute, but I've usually got my laptop kind of in one corner and it pans across to this corner over here so that I've got maximum space to be able to show hyperpressives. And I actually think sometimes I have to be careful about turning away from, like I'll be talking and I'll turn away from the microphone source, and that can be a little bit. But I never have anybody live say to me, I can't hear you.
Right.
All I've found is that my VA, occasionally she's listened to some of the videos that I've done, and she said, oh, there's maybe if you're going to do this more, you need to get a mic. Well, I have got a mic. I've got like a podcast mic, but I just never use it because I found that the microphone on my computer was just really good. The other thing I tend to do is if I'm actually doing a class, not on my one-to-ones on Zoom, but if I'm doing a class, I'll set up my phone on a tripod. So I'm going to show you. I can't turn the screen round on my computer, but I'll show you my room. So That's my washing line over there. No, it's a spin bike. Don't ever use it. Okay, so if I go round to the corner, I know I've got a TV there, but in the corner I've got a little stand, and that is brilliant. That was a really good investment. It wasn't expensive. Can you see it?
Yep, yep.
Ooh, there it is. And all I do is I'm going to put my computer on it now. So I put my computer on that stand, and it pushes up and down, so you can adjust the height. But now you can see the view I was talking about. So across the room, so that I've got the maximum amount of space. So if I know if I drop my screen down to about the top of the door, then I've got plenty of room. And I usually move this chair I was just sat on so that you can see all of the floor space. And I can come all the way back here, and you can still hear me, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's still quite clear. That's still just the microphone on my computer. So the other thing I've got set up, so you saw where the stand was here. In the corner, I've got just a very cheap tripod. Yeah. So what I tend to do with my classes is I'll set my phone up as a backup, because there will be times when the internet will fail. And I mean, it doesn't happen to me very often here, but I have had times, and I'm sure, you know, anyone that's run online classes or online sessions, there will be times when the internet will go down, or you might get a power cut or something goes on. And at least then, I mean, I would just carry on. If I was halfway through a class and it was coming in and out, I'd usually say to people, abandon, and I'll carry on as if you're still here. And I would just do it to the camera that I'm recording on my phone, and then I upload that to my Google Drive, and then I get them a view link to my Google Drive, which is where I store all my videos anyway. So it's a really good setup for hardly any money. I mean, the metal stand that my computer's on was, I don't know how much it was. It's probably the most expensive thing, really. But it wasn't expensive. You certainly, if you've got a decent mic on your computer, you certainly don't need an external mic. I know I've got a friend who does like fitness classes and weight stuff. Oh, she's disappeared. Hopefully Lara will come back in.
She didn't plug in her computer up, and the battery's gone.
Probably, that's really funny. Oh, there you go. There she is. I was chatting to you, telling you about technology and backup, and then you disappeared. We said, did you lose the charge? Oh, you're on mute as well, so I can't hear you. What was I saying?
Yeah, I turned myself on mute when I was swearing at the computer because we just had super fast broadband fitted, and since we've had super fast broadband fitted, it keeps dropping off. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I fingers crossed. I've been relatively lucky. I think I've had to cancel one class because we had a power cut, and I mean, it literally came on with 2 minutes to spare, but it was too stressful for me. I just thought, no, I'm gonna cancel it because I can't tell. But you know, then if you're recording whatever it is you're doing, whether you're doing something with a one-to-one client or whether you're doing it as a class, if you have a backup recording, then at least you've got, you know, something that you can send on.
yeah.
The great thing about anything that you record is chopping it up into little bits of homework as well. So, you know, my classes, you can edit them down and take bits out. So some people have said, oh, I really like the mobility that you use. Can, you know, have you got any more mobility? So I'll just chop out the mobility that I use and say, well, look, if you want something more for your hips, here's some stuff for you. And it's just like 3 little things that I link together as part of a class. So there's, you know, I am not a techie person, right? But I suppose I don't hate it. So I've been quite curious about stuff. And actually, there's most of the stuff that I use you know, I can deal with it. Even like the back office of my website, I can do the real bare basics of it. The CRM system that I use for all of my client, you know, I've tried to bring everything together. This is something that I would like to do a bit of a training on, because it's really important. It's really streamlined everything I do within my business. And I'm not trying to sell you anything, but when you've got your emails coming into your email box and you don't have it in like MailerLite or MailChimp, and you lose track of them and you don't retain the contacts, and you're not, it's just so hard to keep on top of everything. And so I've got a system now where all of my contacts come into it. You know, any like freebies I'm giving away, when people sign up, the box that they sign up to, that's where everything comes into it. Also within it, I have a social media scheduler, and that is a freaking lifesaver, honestly. So I schedule my social media for months in advance. Well, I can do. When I've got time, I schedule it. And also I reuse stuff. So I look at what people looked at. You know, I look at what got the most views over the last 6 months, and I reuse those things, but maybe change what I'm saying. And it, you know, it really cuts down on your, you know, you can say, oh, I'm not into social media, I don't really use it. Well, you should, because it's like a shop window. And it shouldn't, the most important part of your business really should be your emails and your, you know, doing stuff via email. Because if any of these social media platforms go down, then, and you've got all of your eggs in that basket, you are completely stuffed. But you know, to not to say, oh no, I don't really do social media, you are doing yourself a disservice, because we've got something really important to talk about. And whether you're purely hypopressives or whether your business incorporates hypopressives and you do lots of other amazing things as well, you should be talking about it. You should be out there. You should be showing your services. You should be showing your face as well, and not being scared to put pictures of yourself and put little videos of you working with what your day looks like or whatever it is. So for me, the big change for me over the past year has been bringing everything into this system. And I know it's got on a lot of people's nerves, because we took a while to kind of get used to how many emails we should be sending. And it's funny because I've just been going through my disabled, that's why I got in touch with Sam today, my disabled emails list, to see who was there that I knew was current and actually really wants to hear from me, but just probably got a bit annoyed with the amount of emails that I was sending. And so I've just been sending out emails to try and re-engage with people, and just trying to reach out and ring people and just re-engage with people. But, you know, in the past, there would be nowhere for me to collate that. It would just be that say, let's use Sam for an example, she just stopped responding to my email and not even, just like almost put it straight into spam. And so, and then I would never know that, because I've got nowhere that I'm collating it or seeing it. So at least now I've got this, it's a bit depressing, but you have this list of people that have disabled their emails. At least you can see that, and you can do something about it. You can reach out to them. And again, I went to ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to write me an email. I've trained my AI really well to sound like me. I've put transcripts of me talking into ChatGPT, so that ChatGPT picks up on what I sound like, how I speak, the words I use, and therefore when it's writing stuff for me, although I wouldn't use it 100% how it's written, it's very similar to how I would write it. And I just think, yes, genius, because that's just saved me. Like, normally you sit down at the end of the day and you're like, oh, I've just had a busy day, I've got to write this email, and you go to start and you just, nothing comes, does it? But I just go into ChatGPT and go, I need you to compose an email, I want it to say this, it's because of that, I need to include this, 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 and this. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but it's like a rough scratch of an outline of an email, and ChatGPT goes, oh, all right then, dunna. And it's just amazing. So I'm really embracing it. And there's lots of different AIs out there that will help you with any of those jobs that you just think are a bit of a ball ache. So we've got some really interesting training coming up. Last month, Claire Taylor did some on SEO, and I thought it was absolutely stellar. Although it was quite short because she didn't have a lot of time. She's really busy. Some of the things she said, especially about doing your Google profile for your business, I've been going in and just making a few changes. You know, if you had the big long list of all the stuff that was wrong with your website and all of the things you needed to fix, you'd never do any of it. But I'm definitely going to, you know, try and make sure that I'm doing little updates on Google. I've been asking more people for reviews. So if any of you on here haven't written me a review, you can just get on there and follow that link and send me a little review. I know you have, Lara. I'm pretty sure you have, Lara. So yeah, that was a really good training, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is now I'm going to try and do 1 month's guest will be kind of body movement, hypopressive type related, and then the month after I'm going to try and do something business related. So we've got a girl called Ramona Peoples. She trained with me, feels like this year, but it wasn't this year, it was last year. So she's fairly newly qualified, but she's going to kind of talk about scar tissue and the importance of like working with scar tissue with hypopressives as well. And then next month there's a girl who's a copywriter, and I've put a poll in the group to kind of ask people what they want. It seems like everybody wants all of it. So what we might do is I might go back to her and say, if she's happy to, she's not going to be able to do all of it in one training. She might come and do one or two of the trainings for free, and then maybe the third one would be something that you guys would pay into. But I mean, she used to work with a business coach of mine, Laurie Burrows, and she did the copy for some of my sales pages for the courses, and she's just really good. You know, just from a bit of information, she manages to kind of pull out some really good words. And so again, if you really struggle with stuff like that, then she'd be a really good person to help you with website copy and social media copy and all the rest of it. So yeah, definitely try and get along to some of those trainings, or make sure that you put some time aside to watch those trainings that are coming up, because I'm doing it for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
The business side of it is the hardest bit, isn't it? Yeah, it's like, you know, you need a website, you know, you need to be on social media, you know, you need to get an email list. So how do you do all of that stuff? How do you get all that stuff together, and how do you like make it work alongside being a mum, being a dog mum, looking after your house, you know, running your business, doing all these other things? It's just very, very tricky. So we've only got so much time in the day. So yeah, going back to doing online recorded stuff, you don't need to have a lot of money, you don't need to have expensive kit. Zoom is an absolute godsend. I hope AI is going to send me a bottle of champagne or something for saying how great it is, but it really is. Whichever platform you use, whether it's Google Teams or whatever all the other ones are, I'm sure you'll find the one that's good for you. But certainly for the money, Zoom is absolutely amazing. And they're only looking to improve it, really. I never get any crashes out unless it's my internet. You know, there's no problems with it cutting off. But then, like I say, I've always really had the paid version, because I think when I did my research on it, a lot of people were saying that there were problems with the free version. And I just didn't really want to do that, because when I was doing lockdown classes, I was doing 4 or 5 classes a week, and I just didn't need the hassle of it. So yeah. So hopefully that's helpful, Lara.
It is.
The thing you should do probably is just practice teaching. Just set your phone up on a tripod and just practice recording yourself teaching someone to do an element of maybe your class. And just
That's the cringeworthy bit, isn't it? I mean, I have actually done that, and it was like, oh my God, like when there's somebody in the room and you get feedback off them, it's easier to do in some ways than when you're just sort of talking to a camera.
yeah, but I think that you
get over,
said
isn't
at the
it?
beginning that you have a certain structure. So you do a warm up, you've got a bit in the middle, and you've got a cool down. You know how long that takes. That's your class. That's all. That's a class plan. That's a session plan. And then all you do is, if you're doing this regularly for the same group of people, so say it's a hyperpressive based one and you're teaching someone hyperpressives, it's easy in the beginning because you're actually teaching them. So you go, all right, then I'm going to do posture 1 and 3 this week, and then next week I'm going to do posture 4 and 5, and then next week I'm going to do posture 2, and then we're going to link all those things together, and we're going to do it. And you work out your structure, because you know you've got to teach 8 positions, and you know you've got to get you've got to get them to, from this point being a complete beginner to this point doing the daily flow. So it's not as hard as you're making out. And I would say keep really simple words. Don't start trying to use big words to explain things. Keep it really simple and repeat those simple instructions. So just the way I would teach it, teach the course, or teach, if I'm teaching the course live, I'm teaching those people exactly the same way as I would teach someone if they came to me or if they're on Zoom. You set the body up in a certain way. I'm teaching it exactly the same way. I'm not using any other more difficult language. So I think you just need to really think about simplifying it, imagining what the layperson would want to hear. They don't want to know about the muscle names. They don't want to know what connects to what. They want to know how to set their body up, how to do it, and to learn hypopressives, or to learn whatever it is you're showing them. So my lights are doing crazy things. Sam, you had your hand up. Unmute yourself, my lovely.
One of my clients, her partner is the head of advertising at Coca-Cola in-house advertising agency. So I asked his advice. What you said about live stuff, it's not me. I feel old. I don't really want to be in front of a camera. And he says, Sam, you've got to get out there. And he said, what you want is reels. And I came off TikTok because I was doing an anti-Trump Chinese thing. I thought, right, I'm not going to go on TikTok anymore. Don't want to be part of any of that sort of stuff. And he says, you've got to get back on it because you don't need followers. It's the number of hits you get, and then the algorithms change for you. So you don't need to have followers. It's just how many people view you or whatever it is. And he says you don't have to actually be in front of the camera. You can do reels with moving words and things. Once you get the hang of it, there's lots of guides online about how to do this. And you can keep it really simple, 10, 20 seconds. But the reel will elevate you much quicker through the algorithms. So we have to come out of our comfort zone, really, which is quite hard.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Lara said she doesn't like the idea of that, but neither do I. But,
No, I mean, with something like TikTok, I'm very much with you on I really didn't know where to start. I started with something, it wasn't very good. And then I went, oh, I'm going to crawl back under my rock. Because I don't really enjoy it.
But he said it's very easy. And you could put a picture behind you. So you can insert a picture with the technology very easily, apparently, behind you. So he was saying for my survey, for the diastase survey, put some of the tables I've got, results behind me, and just discuss that for a few seconds.
Yeah.
And you will get more people picking it up. So everyone will actually be looking at what's going on behind you rather than at you. But like you said, podcasting, it's just that chat bit, that gets people interested.
Yeah, I mean, any way that you can get yourself out there, but definitely with social media. It just makes me think that I need to get someone. I know someone who's really good with TikTok. She's earning quite a lot of money off TikTok because she's got so many followers. And actually she's just written a book, and she's more in the business world rather than, she's not in the health and fitness world. So, but she'd probably do some free training on TikTok. So that would be something that would be worth doing if people wanted to. I've done some training with her before, and that's when I kind of went, right, I'm going to do this. And then I went, oh no, maybe not. ran back in the other direction. But I mean, I'm regularly on Instagram. Instagram twice a day, most days. I'm on Facebook 4 times a week. I'm on LinkedIn 4 times a week. So, I'm not shy of social media. I think that it's better to do something. So even if you just chose one platform that you thought was going to be where your person's going to show up, that's the one you should go for. And I think that's why I binned TikTok, because I just thought, is that really like where I think I've kidded myself, it's not where my people are going to be, but it probably is. And that it probably is quite important to do that one. But I thought,
well, I'll come back on if you come back on. There we are. Because you don't need followers, whereas in all the other ones you need followers, you see. So
yeah, I should get
I'll do it if you do it.
I should get Maddie
And
to
if
come
Lara does it.
training. Yeah, Lara needs to come on.
You know, I
do
did
some discussions between us, some like little videos between us about stuff. But
and sharing little
that is
things.
the same as all of the social media platforms. I think a while ago I tried to say to people, look, if you've got something to say, if you've got something to share, if you've got a review from a client, or you've got a miracle cure, like someone says, I was triple prolapse, now I'm this, if you've got any of those kind of things, then share them with me and I'll share them on my socials, because I need content as well. And although I'm promoting you, it's still talking about something that I do as well. And it's saying, look, Sam's gone and got this client and she's done da 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 da. And they might end up going and working with Sam, but who cares? It's, but I hit such a brick wall with it all. Everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, I will do. And then no one was sending me any stuff. So, it's difficult because I understand people aren't doing it regularly, maybe like I am. But if they are, we should all be just saying, right, can you share that post for me? Can you put that on yours? There's this course coming up. Can you put it out in your area? Because we should all be doing that for each other, because it's really, really important. But I do struggle a little bit with that. So just bear that in mind for those that are live on this, and for those that are watching it as a recording, that we can all be supporting and helping each other a lot more. There's more than enough stuff to go around. So if you think by sharing my stuff then I'll get all the online work, then I think you're a bit mad, because you won't. All you're doing is giving someone a little bit more information, and if they were in your world in the first place and they like you, they're going to pick you anyway. So it doesn't make any difference that we're all maybe offering similar offerings. We can all help each other. So it's really important that side of our business is that people can become very insular and think, oh no, I don't want another trainer in my area, I don't want another trainer online, I don't want to shout out, I'm not going to help her, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. And it's just madness, because we should all be encouraging each other, and we're all going to have our own strengths. Someone's going to pick me over you, Sam, and someone's going to pick Sam over me, and Christina over, it will just go on personal preference at the end of the day. And it's the same with the training. We have the best training course in the UK in Hypopressives for teacher training, but there are other training providers now, and some of them we've trained, and people will pick those people because maybe price, they're cheaper, maybe the date was more convenient, maybe they like that person better, they came across better online to them, they don't like tattoos, maybe, I don't know, whatever it is, you can't take it personally. It is just part of life that people will come to you for various different reasons. Lara, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a change of tack. So I wanted to make sure you'd finished
Right.
chatting about what
No,
you
that's okay. That's fine.
So my change of tack is I've had a couple of people recently who are outside of my normal kind of clientele because they're very, very fitness based people.
Yeah.
And they're quite young and they've got stress incontinence because they're just massively overloading and they're doing like crazy amounts of stuff. And they've come to Hypopressives because, they've heard how effective it can be. But in both instances, the way they've coped up to now to function at all is that they're just massively, massively hypertonic. They're just gripping on for dear life with everything they've got. And so with the hypopressive method, in sort of starting them off with it, they're feeling very vulnerable in letting that go. And in particular, and I've had hypertonic people before, and we sort of talked it through, and it makes sense to them. But with these people that are very, very highly functioning physically, like as soon as they allow any kind of release of the system, that's it. It just all goes kaput. And I wonder.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. They have to let that tension go to allow the correct amount of tension to come back in.
Yes.
So
how do you get them beyond that sort of stage where, because they're not willing to alter the lifestyle that they've got and the loads that they've got?
yeah, that's the difficulty, is that what you need to do is talk to them about training smart, just for 3 to 6 months, training smarter. And so you don't stop them from training, but this is where you kind of need someone on board who knows what their training is. And it's like saying to a runner that's running every day, oh, you've got to stop running. All they're hearing from you is that they can't do the level of training that they're doing at the moment. And really and truly they can't, because it's a pressure problem. They can't handle the pressure that training puts on their system. And what will happen eventually is they're clinging on. So it's like an overstretched elastic band, isn't it? It'll break. And at some point they think they're managing it, but actually they're not. It'll break and they won't be able to do anything. They'll have a severe prolapse, or they'll be totally incontinent, that they're not going to be able to do anything. So it's about talking to them around training smarter and making tweaks to their training program where they're not lifting so heavy. They're maybe doing more reps. So it depends on what they're doing, really. If I've got someone who's been doing lots of heavy lifting, for example, I would talk to them about, if they're in a gym where they've got more machine-based weights, I would definitely have them doing machine-based weights, like leg press on a machine, leg curls on a machine, leg extensions on a machine, rather than doing those independently and using free weights, because the body is going to be more stabilized. It's going to be more supported by using machines. I know everyone probably raises their eyebrows and says, "Oh no, it's not functional," but it is when you're dysfunctional.
When you're doing,
Safest way really to get someone still training, but in a way that is going to be a little bit nicer on their body, and then dropping their weights down so that they're not training to their maximum. They're not like prolapsing their arse out when they're doing a leg press, that they're doing more reps and much less weight for a while. There was, that what it would end up being is more maintenance rather than making any progression. So, if they're thinking about their training, it would definitely be a maintenance and kind of rest recovery phase, rather than going hell for leather, doing high rocks and, all of that stupid shit that messes everyone up. So, yeah, it's a difficult one because they know what you're saying. They're not thick. They understand, and they will probably do hypopressives. But whilst they're doing all of the things that are going to make it worse, and they're gripping like Billy-O, it's counterproductive, really. And you just won't get
and they can't do
results for them, and then they'll be like, "This doesn't work," and then off we go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or they're struggling to actually achieve the technique because they're just not willing to, physically relax their abdominal wall, or the things that they place a high value on. They don't want to sort of strip back on at all, even though they know ultimately it will lead to better functionality of their body and system.
I mean, I would definitely be saying, from my background, I'd definitely be saying, look, whilst you're doing hyperpressives, you need to be in more of a kind of rest recovery phase. Um, and be kind to yourself so that when you go back to your training, doesn't mean that you're not going to, you weren't going to be able to go straight back into like the heavy stuff, but you'll be able to make a what's the word? The word just was in my mouth and it's gone. Progressive, uh, progressive training so that they'll eventually get back to where they were, and they'll be able to train without having all of that gripping, and their body will be much better supported. Anthony Lowe, physio, he's a strange looking guy. Have you seen any of his stuff? So I think he's worked with kind of CrossFitters and those sort of nutty people um, in kind of functional breathing and stuff whilst they're doing their training, and stopping people from doing gripping. And he's got a podcast, I think. He talked a little bit of tosh about hyperpressives a while ago, and it didn't put me off of him, but he's quite knowledgeable on kind of female training, like CrossFit, high rocks, that sort of stuff, and pelvic floor issues. So yeah, that would
Thank
be
you,
one that
Nikki.
would, I don't know whether there's anything that he's discussed that would give you a bit better um, understanding of that. But yeah, definitely I've had plenty of people that in the beginning, because I was very much like, oh no, you must stop all of that. They just went, oh yeah, see you then. Bye.
Yeah.
I'd rather like, kill myself and have all these issues and still carry on with my training than try and fix it. But so I think the approach I would tend to be is that this is kind of more of a rest recovery. This is going to take a little while. What we could do is to try and up your training a little bit over a period of time when you're starting to feel like some of your symptoms are getting better. And then as we up that training, we'd monitor you and just see how everything was. But your biggest thing initially is going to be able to get them to relax enough to be able to do it properly in the first place, if they're very hypertonic. You still there, Laura? Oh, technology, look, she's frozen. She's oh, hello, Laura. Okay, so has anyone else from anything we've talked about tonight got any suggestions maybe for other training? Anything else that you're kind of struggling with? As I said, coming up, we've got at the end of the month, we've got Ramona's talk. The event is already in the group, and next month it'll be me, and then Jasmine will be doing her bit on something to do with social media, I think, and copy for social media. And there were 3 topics, I think, that I put out there for a vote, and it looks like most people want all of them. So I'll have a little chat with her this week and see what she's happy to do, really. Because if she's happy to do them all for you, then we'll try and structure that over the rest, into the rest of the year. But I think it would also be really helpful to get somebody on that's like TikTok specialist and all of those things that we are shying away from, and would be really helpful for our business, just to understand it a bit more, really. I mean, I do lots of different trainings, and doesn't necessarily mean to say that I use it all, and doesn't necessarily mean to say it's right for me. So even if you do TikTok training, and who's disappeared now? Oh, it's not. It's Laura's the other thing that's gone. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean to say that you have to do it. I have got somebody who's wants to do some AI training for you to talk about kind of the uses for AI, and so would everyone that's here be up for that? Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very, very useful. I mean, I mostly use ChatGPT, and I've, put some very specific information into ChatGPT so that it sounds like me when I'm doing stuff. But there are lots and lots of different apps that I've done training with this person. Her name's Marnie Willis. And she's brought to my attention loads more stuff. So I really want to know a bit more. Sam, you didn't raise your hand and get all enthusiastic about it. Is that because you?
I'm a journalist by profession, so I'm I'm a writer. I feel that it's being taken over. So, I understand the time saving factor, but I like to keep my hand in, so I tend to do it myself. But I think I'd be interested to hear. I don't think I wouldn't not come because of that, because sometimes ignorance is not bliss. So
Yeah, no, I think that I think what Marnie is saying when I was doing her training is that whether you like it or not, a bit like, before we all had a mobile phone and before, you know, TV was like it was, etc. If you'd said that was how it's going to be, you would have thought to yourself, no, that's awful. You're going to be on your phone all the time. Everything that to do with your life is on your phone. And I do think it's awful and I hate it, but it's coming. And so it's about kind of knowing what there is out there and then making your own decision about whether you use it or not, or whether it becomes, part of some of what you use. Or
I mean, I'd never have done my PT online until we were forced to do it online.
No.
No.
100%.
So I'm open. I'm just, wondering about all my jobs, when the people don't need me, with my sideline, when they could just use GPT.
Yeah,
GPT.
but there is always going to be that someone's going to be out there looking for an AI, Nikki.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's going to be out there looking for an AI, Sam. So why not make one?
Mm.
Why not make one and have one there for them, which is going to be something. And that, from that, there will be business. It will just be doing business in a very different way to what we know at the moment. And, we know that that's already the case from, 2020. So, yeah, I suppose it's just embracing it and going with it. Or either that, you just get on a plane and find an island and stay there.
One with penguins in it.
I think mine would be one with palm trees. Palm trees and sand and a lot of sun.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that I'm going to be talking to her later on in the year as well. And I mean, it could be that if people are happy with having two guest trainings 1 month and not me, that's fine by me because I'm always there at the guest trainings anyway. So yeah, all of this stuff is very new and open for discussion as well. So if you ever have anything that you think, God, I really need to know about that to help my business, or any subject, just send me an email or put a suggestion in the group, because it's nice to know that what people want really. Right, Christine, you've been very quiet. Makes a change. Should keep you on mute more often. Has everybody kind of asked and talked about everything that they wanted to this evening? Laura, you've gone again. Oh, there you go. Yeah, we're all good. So, Aldona, just do the practical videos for now. Get your videos sent in of your own personal practice, because I know you'll be brilliant, because I remember you from we did it in lockdown, didn't we? Yes. Yeah. So do that. And then, once you've got the confidence from doing your own practice videos, you'll get on and do your teaching videos and get your husband to be your student.
Can I ask something? Do I have to talk during the practical video,
But obviously you don't talk
Obviously,
through
because I can't.
the breathing one because you're
Yeah.
doing it, yeah?
Yeah.
But when you do the teaching one, so we've had videos from Polish students because we've taught in Poland, and they haven't been able to speak English. So we've said, don't speak then, just use gestures.
Okay.
But I would prefer you just to verbalize some of it. So
Yeah.
if you're teaching somebody, let's say, for example, standing setup, you would say,
Yeah.
bring your feet together, take your heels out, take your toes out, set your feet so they're under your hips, soften your knees, neutral pelvis, long spine, take your head back, slight weight shift forward, and etc. etc. So you speak a little bit when you're teaching.
Yeah, that's what was a little bit of my concern, the talking, because I haven't been teaching hypopressives obviously yet, but I had an attempt when I worked in southern Spain with a lady who had problems with a pelvic floor, and I told her actually about the hypopressives, and I said I'm not a teacher, but I train, I do it myself for my personal problems for this and this amount of time. So she asked me to show it, so I was showing her, but at the same time when I was in apnea, in a vacuum, she was asking me questions, what exactly activations is happening in the body, because she couldn't do it. She was really weak in the core. So I tried her showing her at the same time talking about activation, and that I found very frustrating, because whilst I wasn't in the apnea, it was very difficult to say, but maybe because I didn't have that preparation from the teaching perspective, because I did it as a
When you do the assessments from the course, you don't have to show someone how to do the breathing.
Oh, all right, okay.
So that's not something we want you to teach. What we want you to teach is standing setup, which you can go over the videos. That's what I mean. You need to kind of go over the practical videos to understand what I'm saying, but teach someone standing setup, and then teach somebody two postures that aren't standing or kneeling. So you can teach any of the postures, not standing, not kneeling, because you'll have just taught standing setup anyway.
Yeah.
Then kneeling is so similar that it would be very unfair to go and do that, because it's pretty much the same setup. But you don't teach any breathing.
Oh, all right.
Just teaching the postural setup.
Oh, okay. So that's much easier. Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is when you get practice of teaching somebody, you'll realize how unimportant the vacuum is.
Oh, all right.
Place so much importance on someone must get a vacuum, but don't place any importance on it. Just say it's part of what makes hypopressives
Yeah, the
work.
breath is more important. Yeah.
And actually the whole thing, the postures, the lateral breathing, the actual lateral breathing is the most important part. And that over time, eventually they will get a vacuum, but it has to build. The vacuum that you get has been built up over what, 7 or 8 years?
Yes.
Yeah, same with me, like 12 or 13 years. I've got a very strong vacuum. So you're not going to teach someone that in one session or 2 sessions or whatever. They're going to get hardly anything, which is why when we do the assessment videos, we don't ask you to teach the breathing.
Okay.
What are you going to say, Christine?
Thank you.
I was going to say, I actually put off doing this for exactly the same reason. I wouldn't do it until I thought, okay, I've got it so perfect. I need to get it perfect. I need to get it perfect. And I was so worried about it. I didn't even look at what Nikki asked me to do. And when I actually sat down and looked at it, it was like, oh, actually, it's not that bad. And then I got a friend to do it, and it was actually a lot easier than what I thought. But I was exactly the same as you. I wouldn't do it because I didn't think I was going to be good enough at it. And
Well, we're not looking to see whether you
yeah,
can.
it's just if we can do it, if we're
Yeah.
capable enough of, yeah. Honestly, it's so much easier than what I thought. And you know, just
So
do
we know from watching your own personal practice video that you know how to do the lateral breathing and that you know how to do the vacuum. Yeah, we know that. So we know that you've got those skills, you understand it enough, and you'll transfer that to your clients. Yeah, they might not get it straight away, and that's fine. But what we're looking at when we're assessing you teaching is just that you can get someone set up, that you notice when they're not right, you correct them, they do it, and all is good. Because a lot of the time when people do those, they'll say, oh, stand tall, put your head back, body weight shift. The client doesn't do it and they don't correct it. Or they'll tell them verbally, oh, make sure you've got your chin back. The client doesn't do it. And again, they carry on with what they're doing. They feel like they've ticked it off because they've said the words, but actually the client hasn't responded. And so therefore it's not a pass because You know, you need to be making sure that what you've said was clear, they understood, and they did it. So that's the important bits, really. Good. Well, it's lovely to see you, Sam. You're back on the email list. If ever I'm annoying anybody with emails, just email me and tell me too many now, Nick, too many, enough now. Do less, and I will. I actually have a limit that I have on my CRM system, so I shouldn't really go over too much. But I mean, the trouble is, business coaches tell you to send 5 emails on the same subject because people don't read them. But the trouble is, then some people don't open them because they're just like, oh, not another one, and it just goes spam, spam, spam. Yeah. So I get it. It annoys me when I get too many emails. I get it. What are you going to say, Sam?
I was just going to say that I sent an email to the Guardian lifestyle editor offering to do her Hypopressives for free because she wrote an article about the certain type of jeans that women of a certain age wear. So I thought, okay. So she said she'd got a diastase recti, so she always wears high waisted. So I thought, oh, I'll get in there. So I sent her an email. Still waiting for an answer, but I've just
excellent.
Yeah. So, but it's because she only works 3 days a week, so trying to get a response from her. But I thought, you get someone like that talking about hyperpressive. Sometimes we have to do things for nothing, because
absolutely.
it just gets it out there. And I do quite a lot of pro bono work for that reason, because it gets the GPs and the physios talking and what have you. About it. But I thought, well, she's talking about, she thinks she has to live with the diastase recti. She doesn't. Hypopressives can fix it if they do it regularly enough. So, yeah, so I'm trying to get in there. So that would be good as well if
Well, keep emailing her, send her at least 5.
Yeah. Well, now you said that, I'm definitely going to repeat it. I was going to send one a week just until she couldn't.
No, I'm not being funny, but honestly, they reckon 7 times to follow up.
Okay, I'll do
So
that.
if you really want something, 7 times before, and actually sometimes more before. And today I started ringing people. So I've just found that it's actually easier just to ring people, leave them a message. They get back to you. You can actually have a conversation with them.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, if she's got a phone number, I would.
She's got PA, so I can try through the PA.
Yeah, I would just give it and just say when is convenient. I've got some really great free training that would really help her. I know she was talking about this problem that she has. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
You just never know, but you just have to keep going because you think, oh, you send one email, you send one text message, or you give them one phone call, and it's just not enough. People have got so much stuff going on in their lives and so many other things that come into their email box and their text messages and their WhatsApps and their DMs and their whatever else it is, that they just, I end up, sometimes I look and I think, oh shit, I didn't reply to that. That'll be why she hasn't got back to me. I didn't actually reply. But it's only because maybe at that particular moment that person did reply. I had so many other things going on that I didn't even think about it. And that's going to be the same for anyone that's busy like that. So yeah. Well, it's been lovely to see your lovely faces, guys. Thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you on some of the very exciting training we've got coming up. Any suggestions for anything is greatly received. So let me know. And if I share the Google review link in the UK Hypopressives Trainers Unite group, you're all going to click on it and give me an amazing review, aren't you? Yes.
I think I've done one already, but
Yeah,
If you have, then thank you very much. But obviously, there's people that are watching this that maybe haven't.
I'm sorry, and is that the group that is on? Because I am terrible at social media at the moment because I was the one who escaped to the island. That is actually and I decided to withdraw myself for some time from busy life, but I am now coming back. So I'm not. Is that a Facebook group?
Yes. So the trainers and students have a Facebook group.
Yeah.
If you look on your course,
Yes, I was about to do it and I always keep forgetting.
But if
Because
you have a look on your course, there's a section where it's got like start here, meet the team, and then further down there'll be a link to the Facebook group somewhere in that first part of your course, the very beginning, like the intro bit,
Okay.
there'll be a link to the group. If you don't get it, just send me a message and I'll send you the link to request to join.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right? No problem. Thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Thanks, Nikki.
See you next time. Take care. Bye.